Imagine this. It's the year 1587. Over 100 men, women, and children step onto wooden ships in England, their hearts pounding with both fear and hope. They are not adventurers or soldiers, they are ordinary families chasing a dream. A dream of freedom, land, and a fresh start across the ocean. As the sails catch the wind, England disappears on the horizon, replaced by the endless Atlantic. They have no idea that their names will one day echo through history. As part of America's oldest unsolved mystery, the lost colony of Roanoke. This was not just a voyage. It was a gamble with life itself. After months of hardship, the settlers finally reached the coast of what we now call North Carolina. They landed on Roanoke Island, a wild and mysterious place far from home. To the colonists, it was paradise and nightmare at the same time. Towering trees stretched overhead. Rivers sparkled under the sun, and the land seemed rich with promise. Yet nothing was familiar. Strange plants, new climates, and the presence of native tribes made survival uncertain. Still, they tried to build lives. Wooden houses rose from the soil. Small gardens were planted. Children played in the dirt, laughing as if the world was safe. But behind the smiles, hunger loomed. Supplies from England had run dangerously low. Crops failed in the unfamiliar soil. Fear whispered through the camp at night. Would help ever come? It was clear this settlement was hanging by a thread. The colony's governor, John White, realized that survival depended on more supplies. So he made a desperate choice, leaving behind his own daughter and granddaughter, little Virginia Dare. The first English child born in America, White sailed back to England. He promised the colonists that he would return quickly with food, weapons, and reinforcements. When he reached England, war had erupted between England and Spain. The mighty Spanish Armada threatened the kingdom, and every ship was needed for battle. John White's return was delayed not by weeks, but by years. Imagine being one of those colonists watching the shoreline day after day, waiting for sails to appear, waiting for the promise of rescue. Seasons passed, winters grew colder, children grew thinner, and yet they waited. Hope was their only weapon against despair. Finally, after 3 long years, John White returned to Roanoke in 1590. His heart must have raced as he stepped onto the island, desperate to see his family again. But what he found was beyond belief. The settlement was silent. Houses had been dismantled, their wooden frames left to rot. No laughter of children, no voices of neighbors, only emptiness. There were no signs of struggle, no scattered belongings, no bodies. It was as if the colonists had simply vanished. The only clue carved into a wooden post was a single word, CROATOAN. That was the name of a nearby island, home to a native tribe. But storms forced White to abandon his search. He never saw the colonists again. Even today, no trace of them has been found. An entire community, men, women, and children had disappeared without explanation. For centuries, historians have struggled to solve the riddle of Roanoke. Some believe the colonists sought shelter with friendly native tribes and were absorbed into their communities. Others argue they faced starvation and turned to desperate measures. Darker theories suggest conflict with hostile tribes led to massacre. Some even whisper that disease or supernatural forces wiped them out. But no theory has ever been proven. The mystery deepens when later English settlers reported seeing native people with grey eyes or European features, hinting at possible intermarriage. Could the colonists have survived in secret, their bloodline hidden in plain sight, or were they lost forever to hunger, fear, and time? Every clue raises more questions than answers, leaving historians and explorers chasing shadows for more than 400 years. Today, Roanoke remains one of America's oldest and greatest mysteries. Tourists visit the island, staring at the same trees and waters that once surrounded those settlers. Plays and novels retell the story of Virginia Dare, the child who became a symbol of lost hope. But beyond the legends lies a haunting truth. These were real people with dreams, families, and courage beyond imagination. They risked everything to build a new life, and instead became a riddle carved into history. Perhaps one day, new evidence will emerge, a buried artifact, a hidden record that finally reveals their fate. Until then, the lost colony of Roanoke stands as a ghostly reminder of how fragile human hope can be, and how some stories refuse to let themselves be forgotten.